So someone asked me on the, okay, no, let me start over. Hey guys, how you all doing? And ting and ting and ting. So someone asked me, hey, could you do something on Slovenia? Not Slovakia, but Slovenia. And another place that I'm interested in too, to a certain degree that I don't know much about, and I ain't gonna even front here. I don't know much about. I'm gonna look more into the history of it later, but I'm gonna start off with 10 surprising facts about Slovenia. Yes, I. Let's YouTubers simmer and see what we could, get a little taste of Slovenia here.
So it's been quite a while here since I dived into looking at a new country here on FTD Facts. But today I'm really excited that we are going to look at a fascinating new country, and that is not one that is talked about all the time, as it's usually drowned out by its bigger brothers and sisters, and these are the countries of Austria, Croatia, Hungary, and Italy. And today, here on FTD Facts, we are looking at the beautiful, amazing people, culture, and country of Slovenia.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to FTD Facts. My name is Dave Walpole, and today, yes, we're talking about Slovenia. Now, if you're a first-time viewer here, you want to hit that subscribe button and that bell notification to learn about many different countries and places from all around the world. But, hey guys, if you're coming back, well, welcome back to another episode. I'm so excited that you guys are continuing to learn more about the world with me. I love learning, and I hope you love me teaching you guys about cool stuff. Now, for a lot of you, you might be from Slovenia yourself, which let me know down there in the comment section below, but some of you guys might be from other countries around the world, which, for me and most North Americans, when you think of Slovenia, just the name itself, it just doesn't really have the most appealing sound. Not saying Slovenia is not a great name for a country, but when you think about it, you don't think of it being a beautiful, amazing place. Ooh, that actually didn't sound all too good, but what I'm trying to say is the fact that no matter what you think about Slovenia, you will always be amazed, because, it is a beautiful, amazing country. They have...
I'm going to tell you why straight up there, brother. When I think of places like Slovenia, I don't think negative. I don't think, oh, there's nothing, I think, what's interesting about that place, What can I learn about that place? What can I learn from that place? Well, I guess that's just my personality about it all, you know what I mean? I personally think that a lot of the negative outlook of these places has to do with more political than it is cultural, because people don't know the culture of these places, and that's why I'm focusing on places that people don't pay attention to, and places that if you don't know much about a place, why wouldn't it pique your interest to find out? And not just to find out by what you see in the news, because the news just bring all the negative stuff. You know what I mean? So, and even if you just look at some touristy stuff, just to see what it is, just to show the calm, because there is calm everywhere, and there's peace in certain places everywhere. You understand what I'm saying, thing? But, I think most of the negative connotations that is put forward about places like Romania and Slovenia and Georgia and all of that is come from more political than it is just people. Because they don't know anything about those people. Just, oh yeah, this is happening there. And some of those places haven't had any kind of a turmoil in decades. But because that's all they talk about, like if somebody want to go to Romania, they talk about all of the bad stuff that happened first before they talk about anything else. If they want to go to Slovenia, they talk about all the stuff that happened around that region there before anything else, They look at the heroes as barbaric, like they do with Vlad and other heroes and stuff from these places. Whereas those people some people there have different understanding of it, you know what I mean? And you never know this until you start paying attention, and not just paying attention to all the propaganda that comes out there. Look, we have YouTube, we have all these ways of getting in contact with these people to learn about them. So all we have to do, man, let's go ahead and watch this, because I think he's going to go into the good part more so of Slovenia. Let's check it out. Let's see what the vibe is.
Everything from roaring hills, beautiful scenery, small organized towns, cool castles, nice weather, and of course, let's not forget beautiful caves and beautiful water. I'm going to talk about this in this video. First of all, let's just start off with some of the basics. The country itself is called the Republic of Slovenia, and it's classified as a sovereign state, meaning that it is a designated chunk of land that is under a central form of government. And of course, it's nicely, conveniently tucked into what is known as Southern Europe. So for the government, it's classified as a unitary parliamentary constitutional republic, which means they got a president and they have a prime minister. And the government is all located within the capital city of Ljubljana, which also doubles as the largest city in the entire country. Bit of a side note, when it comes to the city of Ljubljana, it has actually had a little bit of a dark history, because during the Second World War, there were giant fences and fortifications that were erected around the city. This was due to the fact that Italy, which was under the influence of Germany, basically occupied the country at that time, and to keep rebels out of this city, they decided to erect a giant fortified fence and fortifications around the city. Nowadays, at least since 1985, they've actually gotten rid of all those fences, and it's interesting that they have this giant path that people can go and walk around.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, it's commonly used for recreation, and it is known as the Trail of Remembrance and Camaraderie.
All right.
And it's pretty interesting because they haven't gotten rid of a lot of their old bunkers. As a matter of fact, if you go on the trails, you can still see some of the old bunkers that are there. Pretty cool, right? So one thing that y'all might be wondering, and it was always in the back of my head when it comes to Slovenia, is the country classified as a Slavic country or a Germanic country? Well, theoretically they are kind of both. As a matter of fact, you could say it's three. There is Slavic, Germanic, and even Romance, which Romance languages are under the subcategory of Italic languages, and of course being next to Italy, it makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah.
But the question of whether or not it's Germanic or Slavic is one that is always asked. And despite how controversial this question may be when we look at the country of Slovenia from a linguistics point of view, it's classified as a Slavic country. And of course, most people generally just say, yes, it's Slavic, that's the way it is. However, though, people will identify its culture more as Germanic than more Slavic. The reason for this is simply because Slovenia at one point was part of the Dutch of Bavaria, which is where you get a lot of Bavarian culture. You know, Oktoberfest kind of stems from that, which, by the way, not all Germans are all in lederhosen and stuff like that. It's a cliche, and it's more known for the Bavarian culture, which is down to the south, I believe. And on top of that, Slovenia was also a part of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire until after World War I, when it declared its independence on October 29th, 1918. And this is because it created a joint state with Croatians and the Serbians. Also, while we're on the topic of independence, I should mention that Independence Day within Slovenia is a little bit weirder than it is in other countries. To give you a backstory, after this joint state with Croatia and Serbia, eventually Slovenia was thrown into what is known as Yugoslavia. However, on June 25th, 1991, after the fall of the Soviet Union, pretty much Slovenia went, nope, we're going and doing our own thing. We are finally independent. As a matter of fact, Independence Day within the country happens on December 26th every single year, and the reason for this is there was a referendum done in December 23rd of 1990, and then on top of that, once they got their independence, the Constitution went into effect on December 23rd, 1991, basically 365 days later. So for their Independence Day, which is basically independence and unity, it's not celebrated on the actual dates. But however, they do have a public holiday that happens on June 25th to celebrate the independence from Yugoslavia, and that is State Day. Sorry, correction, it's called Statehood Day. I just find it interesting that that is kind of an Independence Day. It's just not called Independence Day. Now that we got all that history out, let's look at some serious numbers. Basically, when we look at the country, when it comes to its population, it sits at 144th in the world, with a population size of 2,700,050 people. Keep in mind, that's just an estimate from 2017 to 2018-ish. Of this, with its population density, however, it jumps up to 106th in the world, with a population density of 102 people per square kilometer. And the reason for this is Slovenia is a very small country. Okay, it's not too small. I don't want to make it feel like it's small and unimportant. It's just small in size. It basically has a land size of 20,273 kilometers square, ranking 151st in the world. And if you were to compare that to anything in the United States, that's about the size, if not just a little bit smaller than the state of New Jersey. So can you guess what religion makes up the majority within the country? And can you guess by how much? Well, if you guessed Roman Catholic and you said 57% of the people identify as Roman Catholic, you would be right. That being said, I should also mention that they have a rather high percentage, which is about 10% of the population, that says they are not religious. And on top of that, about 15% also say, nah, I'm not telling you if I'm religious, yay or nay. As for languages, can you also guess what the main language is? Well, it's not Slovenia-ish. Nope, it's Slovene. There's no such thing as Slovenia-ish, unless some people are just starting to slang things up. I mean, Canadian-ish, that would be me. Not Canadian, I'm Canadian-ish. I mean, we don't even have our own language. We're just English. We're screwed. We're not original, actually. That's more what I wanted to say. But of course, because Slovenia is beside a lot of neighboring countries, you've also got German, Italian, Croatian, Romani, and of course Serbian. English is in there, but it's classified as a foreign language. I mean, I don't really blame them because the English language, I mean, is just an absolute, it's a mess. I mean, the bright side is we definitely don't masculine and feminine things like a pencil. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. Sorry, I know they do it in other languages, but I can't get behind it. No. It's a pencil. It's an it. Ooh, also in Slovenia, there's actually quite a remarkably large chunk of people that were born abroad or outside of the country. And this came from reports in 2015 when they said about 12% of the population were actually not born within the country. Okay, now this is the little segment of the video where I'm going to get into like the landscape and geology because, man, it's just so pretty. So when it comes to the average height on its landscape, the country sits at approximately 1,827 feet. And as for the height...
That little, whatever that is on the island there, I've seen, that's in Slovenia? Did I do a video with Slovenia before? Because I remember that little place there. But so far it's a lot of surface information. But I will be diving deeper into it though. So, this is a nice little insight of what I'm in for here. But the cool part about this region is that the immigration there is kind of crazy with all the different people living there. And is there like an immigration problem in Slovenia? I mean, is there like other people coming from different parts of the world, period, like Africa? Or is there any Caribbean people living there? If you're in Slovenia and you know somebody from the Caribbean that lives in Slovenia, comment down below. Let me know. You understand what I'm going to say? That'd be interesting, you know what I mean? Because I could see people going to university there. I wonder what's the university situation and things like there. Comment down below. But and even like athletes, you know what I mean? They probably visit there sometimes, or somehow end up living there. That would be really interesting. Comment down below and let me know. Let's keep watching this.
Highest point, the largest mountain within the country, is Mount Triglav, which sits at an elevation above sea level at 9,369 feet. It is tall. Of course, the Triglav Mountain is part of the Triglav National Park, and the mountain itself has just been a very important, national image. As a matter of fact, it's used on many different things, such as even the coat of arms of the country. And as a matter of fact, did you know that it was the inspiration for the bump in the military Triglavka hats that the military once wore in the past? And of course, for all you enthusiasts out there that want to know that little extra bit of information, this mountain was first climbed in 1778, and this was done by a man named Sigmund Zois. You may have also heard of the term karst before. I don't know where you would have heard it, but I know it's very familiar to me. This is basically a type of topography of limestone, dolomite, and gypsum. And the reason I bring this up is because there's a thing within the country called the Karst Plateau, which is a type of area that Slovenia is known for because this region is home to many vast and famous caves. And of course, the term karst comes from Slovenia, as the man who invented it, named Johann Wichert von Valbasor, was studying this particular region in Slovenia and decided to name the type of topography it was. Unfortunately, one thing when it comes to having this type of topography and all these caves, Slovenia is listed as having the highest rate of sinkholes of any country in the world.
Oh, wow.
Speaking of caves, one really famous one is the Scotian Caves, which are classified as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This is also considered one of the largest underground canyons in the entire world. It's huge. As a matter of fact, it covers an area of 1,020 hectares, with so far approximately 6,200 meters of the cave being explored. As a matter of fact, it was even mentioned as far back as the 2nd
There's like
century
a river in
BC
there
by Posidonius Apamea, and it was even indicated on the first map ever of the region dating back to 1561. By the way, did you also know that Slovenia has some of the best education in the entire world?
There we go.
According to a report done in 2006 by the Program for International Student Assessment, the country's education system ranked 12th in the world and 4th best in the entire European Union.
Wow.
Based off that report, it stated that the country had a 99.6% literacy rate, and 83% of the population had completed a high school degree or equivalent, while 12% and higher have gone on to higher education other than high school.
You know, there's something about these small countries where education is paramount, because it's the same thing on the island where I'm from. Like what, 98% literacy in my country. I don't know how many goes to universities, but we jumped to the opportunity when you say go to have a higher education. We jumped it. It's one reason why I came to America. We didn't have a university on the island. They said, basketball scholarship. I said, I'll take it. Lasted 2 semesters, and then I was like, I'll just pay for this myself. Thank you. You know, I mean, got married, left, and, you know, went to college just down the street here, a couple of blocks, you know what I mean? And get it. But education is paramount in these small countries because, and especially when you're trying to climb up the ladder of prominence in the world, if you have an educated population, it serves the country right to have people be educated so that you could bring in industries, and when you get the education, they kind of expect you to come back home and, you know, take care of business there and help the country and stuff like that. But some of us get married and then get stuck. Anyway, but yeah, it is important. And I'm not surprised they have an excellent education system. That's why I was asking even before, what are their university situation is like there? You know, I bet it's really good, because when a country doesn't have very much, they kind of start concentrating on education, because that's what's going to bring industry in and people in, and people to start businesses and stuff. You got to have an education to compete in this world economy. Let's keep going.
School. And last thing, I want to close it off. Let's talk about heritage sites. I've actually talked a lot about this, but I just love heritage sites. I'm all about preserving history as much as we can. But within the country of Slovenia, they say there's anywhere between 500 to 1,000 castles, ruins, and manors. On top of that, they say there's roughly about 2,500 churches, many of these which are classified as heritage sites. But one I want to mention in particular is the Basilica of the Virgin Mary in Brasília. And this is so historic that it is a national shrine for the country, and it is considered the most visited church in all of Slovenia, with over 400,000 visitors a year.
Wow.
So there you go, guys. I really hope you like this video. I mean, I'm always fascinated about learning about new places from...
Okay, now that was interesting. But I'm going to do some more looking into the vibe on Slovenia, man. I'm intrigued. I'm gonna do some more looking into it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you learn a little bit of something here, or you just enjoy the video, learning about something newer. You understand? I don't have any videos on Slovenia, so I'm gonna leave something in the links here so you could keep watching my reactions and things like that. You know, I'll also leave a link in the description to this very video here, because this guy seemed to do a lot of, you know, historical things, you know, historical videos about different countries and different parts of the world and things. I hope you guys are having a great day, man. I'm having so much fun watching these videos here and thing recently. A lot of fun. Comment down below. If you're from Slovenia or you have traveled to Slovenia or you have lived in Slovenia at any point in time, tell me what you think in the comment section, all right? Y'all take care of each other. Cool runnings.